It's all about building a better AGC for you. Strength through unity, every member matters, has been my message as I've traveled around the country. And part of leading is understanding the unique challenges that we all have faced. And so we want to be sensitive to the challenges that we face in this industry. Member involvement is critical. We can't do it alone, and I am so pleased at the involvement that you have here in California. This is a very vibrant chapter, and you should be very proud to be a part of it. We need your help on the national level as well. There's opportunities for you to participate in the forums, in the committees, in the divisions, and we just do need you. Time marches on, and some of us move through this stuff, and we're always wondering, who are those next leaders going to be? And those are you. So please, please, please think about that. A lot of the work in today's electronic communications can be done from your desk, and AGC has done a wonderful job of managing the meetings and the travel and trying to be good stewards of your time as well as theirs. So consider that.
Next year's budget's going to be a difficult one, and I think you're going to see, if the economy doesn't start turning around, that we're going to have additional cuts to programs, which is unfortunate in many areas. I'm not real optimistic that we're going to pull out of this downfall recession anytime soon. The Anderson School at UCLA says it's going to be at least 2015 before we start to see a recovery back to where we were prior to this occurring. So I think it's a difficult time, but I do believe the governor now sees the need for some reforms so that we can make those corrections.
For those of you who are used to me coming with bad news, this time I'm changing my story. I'm coming with some good news. And the first good news out of the box happened yesterday when the House of Representatives, by an overwhelming margin, over 400 votes, voted to repeal the 3% withholding requirement. This thing has been hanging over our head for 5 or 6 years now. We've been trying to get it repealed. We've been successful in getting it delayed and have the can kicked down the road. And so finally we had the House vote on it, and they exceeded our expectations with over 400 votes. Second reason for my optimism is on infrastructure. We are in a very difficult political and budgetary environment to be pushing for new investments in infrastructure. And while the president, we applaud the president for what he's done to elevate infrastructure investment as a necessity for the government to be involved in, we're suffering a bit from what I call the stimulus hangover. If you were to go ask people on the street what the stimulus did, they would probably say, oh, it was $800 billion that went to pave roads. And unfortunately, that's not correct. We got a much smaller share of that, about $130 billion for infrastructure. We have been defending the stimulus bill ever since it came out, saying it was the right thing to do. We continue to talk about how it saved jobs and saved companies. But unfortunately, less than 30% of the public thinks the stimulus was successful. So with that message out there, it's really easy for conservatives to say they're not for more infrastructure investment. So we've had to try to educate conservatives about the importance of infrastructure investment to our overall competitiveness and as a vehicle for economic growth. And we have, I think, in the past few months, we've made significant headway in that regard. And then one other issue. When you have divided government, in this case we have a Republican House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic administration, it's very difficult to get a lot of things done, and it causes the administration, in this case, the Obama administration, to try to get a lot of things done through regulation that they can't get through legislation. And one of the biggest issues we've been working on in that regard is the new stormwater permit rule coming out of EPA. The important thing to note here is this. The administration's stormwater permit requirements would have created additional burdens on contractors and owners to reduce the level of sediment leaving a construction site. We got kind of clever on this. We burned this rule down to these requirements down to their essence. And basically, the way we've communicated on this is that this permitting requirement is designed to save the environment from mud. And I think that's had a significant impact on the administration. They've backed off on them temporarily meaning until after next November's election. But the good news is for now, they've backed off on the more onerous requirements here. And we're going to use this next 12 months that we have to continue to remind them that they're creating a system that's designed to basically just save the environment.
You know what a difference a new governor makes. So what we're doing right now is giving you a perspective of what we're doing at the national level, local, and state levels. We had some pretty good legislative experiences this year. These three noteworthy sponsored bills were something that Dave and Jamie worked very hard on and pushed very hard for. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail because they're written, but these are some of the noteworthy bills. Here's a little glimpse, a snapshot of how we did on our sponsored, co-sponsored, supported bills. Not bad, 80%, not bad. We looked down that list and there's just a lot of things that we were very, very good at getting done. We did it in conjunction with other organizations. But rest assured that our organization was leading the charge on virtually every one of these.
Today, I just want to give you a real brief overview of some of the goals that we have set for 2012. We have basically 4 categories, very simple. Membership, marketing, organizational effectiveness, and services. That's what we do. First, on membership. Obviously, you know, we've set a goal for ourselves every year. You'd think in the last 3 years that we'd say, well, realistically, we're losing members. Maybe if we just said, hey, we only want to lose 5% of our members, that'd be a more realistic goal. But we don't work that way. We always think that we're going to increase our membership. And I really think we've turned the corner, as you'll hear today. So we're going to try to, this is kind of a rolling goal, but we're going to use programs and marketing that will result in a net gain for over the 2011 numbers. I think marketing. There's really, you know, marketing is really simple in some ways, and it's really complex in others. The theory, we talk about internal marketing. One thing we've discovered is that a lot of our members focus on one part of the value of AGC, the part that's valuable to their firm. They may not even know that there's a whole array of other services that we provide both at a district level, at a state level, and even at a national level that they haven't even availed themselves of. So what we're really concentrating on is marketing to ourselves, marketing to our own members, making them aware of what AGC can do for them that they aren't doing right now. The theory being that as we go out and try to recruit members, that's essentially a member to new member process. Organizational effectiveness. We are trying to provide those kinds of facilities where we can provide information sharing, methods of communication between members.